it is 6:07, and we'll call the Board of Water Commissioners meeting to order at 401 Central Street. And the first order up is Citizens Query, 6:05 to 6:20. So, Mr. Toomey?
Yeah, Tim Toomey, 355 Central Street, Raleigh, Mass. I noticed on the board of the departments,
Something's like competing with you. Is that the air conditioner or a fan? I can barely hear you. There we go.
Yeah, I noticed on the internet site, the minutes of September 11th, 2015 minutes weren't posted, and I passed them in a while back before I left the board. Would the board like me to give them the minutes at this time?
I believe we have them.
The executive session minutes?
If you have them, sure. And we'll make sure that we
We have them
address them. Yeah. Some of them I think had to be not posted.
redacted. We have redacted section.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, so I just wanted to wrap up that. And I had one more question.
Yep.
I was wondering what the free cash was certified for last year?
We will look into that and give you an answer.
It hasn't, they're
They haven't
working on.
finished reconciling for the year yet, it's still too early, we won't see that till the fall.
That's correct.
For FY16?
Yes.
FY16? So we'll put that on a future agenda when we think the timing is, and make sure that gets posted or shared. Anything else, Tim? Okay. Anybody else have any?
I wonder if...
Just identify yourself
I'm
so everyone
sorry.
knows who you are.
I'm sorry,
We do.
Jamie Snow, 7 Saunders Lane. I wonder if the board has ever considered a very basic P&L sheet to assist the commissioners with very basic revenue, expenses, payroll, so everything is together on one piece of paper?
Since this is Citizens Query, I'm not going to get into it,
No,
but
no, no.
I can just say, I think we're moving in that direction. Mary Beth has put some stuff, but is that something you guys could help with? Okay.
Is there a standard format for other departments in town?
I do not know.
Generally, for all the other boards I've been on, no, we haven't done that. But the other, and I know we're not supposed to get into discussions here, but more to Bernie's point, the other boards are not businesses. The only one that'd be close to us would be the light department. I don't believe they do that either. So we're unique ones that are.
I would certainly be in favor of something a little more concise.
We'll put that on the agenda and we'll address that.
I just wanted to say that we already have all the spreadsheets. Payroll is separate from the revenue, which is separate from all of the other components. So you would be asking us to create something new, above and beyond what we already have. And the board sees payroll every week. The board sees the monthly operations report, the revenues are in there, and all of that, so.
I have thoughts and ideas on it, but let's put it on the agenda for the next meeting and do some prep work for it.
So what is it for the
P&L statement.
opinion?
Anybody have any other issues, questions?
I just got one more, John. The boat launch doesn't have water this year. Is there a reason for that?
No.
So the water was never turned on, so
I don't know if they didn't ask, or I don't.
I don't know.
I can ask them that. We had some dialogue with the harbor master, and they were concerned because of the water use restrictions that are in place. No outside watering from 9 to 5. So they may have shut it off so that they could comply, because if there are people using the boat launch between 9 and 5 and they come back and they want to rinse off their boat, there's no outside watering between 9 and 5. So that would be a question for the harbor master.
Yeah, I'd suggest asking Bill if he turned it off. I mean, we'd certainly turn it off if they on it.
Well, I mean, Burley's water, the marina isn't turned off, so I don't know why we wouldn't have water down there.
Good question.
It's I think the board should
We don't,
look into that.
we don't control it, so I'd check with the harbor master first.
The service was turned on, and I believe, you'd have to speak to the harbor master, but I believe he is controlling the valve because of the water being.
Okay. Any other questions? Anybody want? Okay, we'll close this query. All right, the next one is Old Business 27 Wilson Pond Lane, which is Antonio Pasidi, regarding a private well and a cross connection. Questions? Okay, cross connection. So is Mr. Pasidi here?
I'd like to discuss what we're calling a cross connection at my home. There is no cross connection, physically disconnected from the town water. Yet I'm getting a letter from Mary Beth saying potential for a cross connection exists. Can you explain that to me?
I'm gonna look through the file, but Mary Beth, have you looked at the file?
I'm sorry?
Have you looked at this? I haven't had a chance to go through this yet.
Oh, yes, this has been on our agenda
Mhm.
for a few times. Mr. Bassetti was a water customer and had town water, and then at some point had decided to drill a private well for his primary drinking water supply, correct? And then no longer wanted to be a water customer. So at that point, you had an actual live cross connection because the two systems were tied together. But
Excuse me, that never happened.
the state regulation 310 CMR 22 says whether a cross connection is potential or actual. So as long as the water service is hooked up, the water meter has to stay in place, because if we remove the water meter, we have no way to, the service is still there. You see what I mean?
Well, aren't there places where we've actually we've cut it off at the street?
And that's what we're trying to do here.
Right, the cut and cap, what we're
That's
trying to do.
Here's the problem with that. When I purchased my home, it's on Wilson Pond, a new development.
Mhm.
Out of the purchase sales price, my property included the cost of the water time that the developer paid. If the developer paid it, that means it came out of my pocket when I purchased the land. So now, for me to disconnect that, or have you disconnect that, to evaluate my property. I've already paid for that connection. What right does the town have, or the water department have, to take that service out?
Well, it's not so much our right, it's our requirement under the state's laws that you cannot have a town water come into that property and exist with a well. So that, as Mary Beth explained, the expression is cut and cap it. And it's not the Board of Health, it's not the Water Department, it's the DEP. We had a hearing probably about 2 months ago. This is in April, no longer than that, where the DEP came and presented this information. We don't really have an option. I mean, we have to comply.
You can
We
take out
have
the
to
meter,
comply
shut
with-
the water off in the meter.
If you want to, but again, there's an expense to that.
What's the expense?
I don't know the
How
numbers
long
off
is
the
it
top.
gonna take a person, open up the meter pit cover, put a key in, shut the valve, disconnect the meter? How long does that take? An hour if it's slow?
It's more than that
I don't
because of the,
think
anyways,
Well, I have not been to the property, so I can't see what's there. The other thing is that we will have to monitor and maintain that service because it is tied live to the water main. And
if we cut and cap it though,
If we cut
regardless of
and cap
just
it.
turning it off, if we cut and cap it, that makes it
that's correct.
over.
That's right. And then we
Right.
would remove the water meter and be done.
Because the water meter can be tampered with or addressed.
No, take
and
the
then-
meter out. Take the
That's
meter out.
what Mary Beth's talking about.
I have no problem taking the meter out and shutting the water off in the pit.
It's not so much the pit, it's the
Disconnect
At
from the
the
main
street.
in the
So,
street.
all right, so tell me what'll happen. You'll dig up the main, you'll shut it off at the corporation.
We will crimp the line,
You'll crimp the line.
remove the meter.
And that will prevent any possible leakage.
You won't be connected to the system.
I'm not connected to the system. In fact, the firm that you told me to contact, Water Safety Services, their questionnaire, is the well connected to what have the potential to be connected to the town water supply? They checked off no. Is there another source of water to your property other than the service connection to the public water supply? Well water only, town water is cut and capped, plugged inside house. So tell me where there's a cross connection.
I have not seen that report.
Really, that's strange, because I got it on June 24th.
I don't have that. Do you have a copy of that you can provide
You can
us?
make a copy of this.
They probably,
You can make a copy of what I have. I don't
Yeah,
have an
yeah,
extra copy
no,
of
it's,
it.
they probably just haven't got that grouping sent to us yet.
okay. Can, Katie make a copy of that for us, and we'll just continue this
So-
without...
I'm not done, I'm not done. Now, tell me again what happens if you pull the meter and shut it off, what happens?
The reason why the water meter is staying in place is because there is a service line connected to the water main. It runs to the meter pit, and from the meter pit, it runs through the property into the home. There is a complete line. If we take, and I'm not saying this, but this is why. If we take the water meter out, anybody could go in that pit, put a straight piece in, and now we can hook it up and get free water. I'm not saying that you would do that.
Well, you
Plus,
know what? That's
monitoring
what-
for
no, but that's
leaks,
what's implied. That's what's implied.
monitoring for leaks. If there's a meter pit that tells me that the service line is over 100 feet long, I mean, the board can do what you would like to do, but my recommendation, as what a department regulation is to cut and cap.
And that keeps us within the guidelines of the DEP, correct?
Let's go back though, what is leaving the meter ring tell you? If I'm stealing water, that's one thing.
If there's a leak, we'll be able to detect
How
it.
would you tell that?
Your water meter is equipped with a leak detector.
And it would tell, as we read them, it would contact us. We're supposed to be a zero usage. If something came up, we'd know there was something going on there. So the alternative is to go back to the street service. And generally, the standard operating procedures for cutting caps is to dig it up, clip it there, and then repave, reseed, whatever gets disturbed. And then you never deal with this again.
Well, I paid for that connection, and you're taking something away from me that I paid for when I bought my property.
And as I stated previously, we are required to meet the DEP's regulations. Additionally, if we cut and cap a residence, if someone decides to go back on town water, everything gets set back to zero. And it's the whole permitting process and those fees, it's expensive. So if someone's well goes bad and they decide after they've done it, now I want town water. And this has all been laid out and communicated and it's available
When was it all laid out?
this year.
This year?
This year.
Okay, well, guess
As
what?
the DEP's requirements have been
Well,
imposed.
Okay, that's fine, this year.
Well, it's
My
sooner than
permit,
that.
my well permit was issued last year. So why should I be bound by regulations that change after the permit's issued? You pull a building permit today, you get a permit. Tomorrow, the state code comes out and changes the code. Guess what? You're not bound by the new code. You are bound by the code that the permit was issued on.
In May of 2015, the board voted on a policy.
Yeah.
Was that policy put on the well application?
We have nothing to do with your well application.
Well,
It's
see,
the Board
now
of Health.
that's when you got a serious disconnect.
It's the Board of Health
We don't
oversees, the Board of
regulate.
Health oversees private
That's fine,
wells.
but I spoke to you on December 29th, and you told me you wanted to pull my meter bill.
Well, we normally would pull the whole thing that you explained about your landscaping that you had done in the front.
Landscaping and the
As
gas
a
line.
rhododendron, so
But
we
you also
would,
never told me it was gonna be a $30 a month fee, which did not get implemented until the day after my well went online. Again, I was online using my own well, disconnected from the town water supply, the day before you implemented these fees. So why am I bound to the new fees? And I'll explain one thing. DEP also told me that since I'm disconnected from the town water supply, copycat did my foundation, I am no longer bound by the rules and regulations of the town water department. Now, I also have a complaint issued with the Attorney General's office. I spoke to them today, and they would like to hear what happens at this meeting tonight.
And it's recorded, and they're welcome to watch. Mary Beth?
the DEP can only reiterate what the state regs say. The DEP can't mandate or has no jurisdiction over the local laws or regulations. So they can't come in here and tell you, you can't have this cut and cap regulation. If they knew what your regulation was, they would be thrilled at what it is, because it's one extra step of protection for the public supply. So they can't regulate, they won't get involved in the local politics of town rules and regulations and bylaws.
So with respecting the property, and I'm a resident here too, I don't want to see people, suffer undue hardship. But if we look at this, and it's the fee for the meter is one of the issues, and then we need to have the safety and soundness. And again, this is just a discussion at this point, but if we were to remove the meter pit, and not the meter pit, the meter, okay, cap it there, could we still do it at the street without the destruction of the property?
I have not been to the site, so I can't say what we would be disturbing or not.
And my point there is that I know that, I recall this now, there was quite a lot of landscaping where the meter pit is.
Very large, mature rhododendrons all around.
Yep. So if we got the meter pit, remove the meter, crimp it, but again, Mary Beth, as she said, if someone, and this isn't directed at you, this is how we have to operate. Someone, the next owner could say, oh, great, boom, put in a straight pipe, and they're off to the races. We'd have no way of knowing it, is one thing, short term, but, so what I'm saying is if we took out the meter, that takes the $30 off, and then we go back to the street, and we cut and cap at the street, then you're,
Why couldn't we just lock off the valve?
Thank you.
on the, is that
On
the
the
meter pit you
meter
showed me
pit,
out back?
I don't see any reason why that wouldn't be acceptable, but that's just my opinion.
I'm sorry,
Saying
what was
put a
the
lock
Why
on
the
the
meter
meter
pit, why can't we lock it off? They have places to lock them off. Take the meter out, lock it off with our lock.
With a padlock
Yes.
or lock and bolt?
Either padlock or a seal.
So if we were to lock the meter, would it
Lock
still
the
be?
valve in the meter pit. Then they're not gonna get into it without our key.
Or if they do, it would start showing usage of that.
But we're
property?
taking the meter out,
Well, no,
right?
do we? I mean, if we lock it.
You could do it with leaving the meter in. Then you have your checks every month about, I mean, that's just a suggestion, that's just,
That would involve a $30 a month fee, because now we're reading the meter every month, and if the meter goes bad, we have to replace it, and there's maintenance.
Why don't
Still
you
lock it.
fix it? It's locked off. It's not being used.
Because we have an asset out in the field, we just can't abandon the asset. If we were to remove the meter,
Guess what? When I purchased my house, I had to pay for the water meter at that time. So you're telling me now that it's your asset?
Yes,
they are now.
It is.
because
They are
you
now.
come-
it always was.
You're paying a fee for the installation.
Yeah.
We paid
You
for the
curb stop.
installation.
Yeah.
right, shut that off, that's one shut off.
You know, it says
Go
cost
up
of
to
water
the pit,
meter and
and say that's shut off the pit, which can be padlocked.
Okay.
Then you have the gap in between, you have no cross connection. That's my opinion for what it's.
So do we take it, can we still put the lock on if we take the meter out?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. But one of the very best. take
I
that
would
out.
have to go to the site and look at it myself. I can't really
Okay.
have good
Let me know when
discussion.
you'd like to come out there.
I'm sorry?
Let me know when, I'll meet you there.
When's our next meeting? I haven't even, I have to apologize, this is the busiest season for me at work, so. Today's the 2nd, next one will probably be the 16th. Thursday night?
That was a typo.
Is it?
My
Should be the
bad.
16th.
My bad.
Can't make it
What
either.
exactly does the
And
$30
and they'll be
cover?
singing tonight too.
If you took the meter out here, close it, you close it, and you could put our lock on it.
If we could put our lock on it.
I think that solves the problem on a lot of them, it meets the intent of the law as far as.
Bernie, are you okay with
No,
that?
I understand that, but I think that there are other issues. The other issue is the $30 a month ongoing charge. And
I'm sorry. I couldn't hear.
sorry, that's one issue. The other issue is the $30 a month. And this is a kind of a complex, it's going to open up a can of worms. Because in one sense, I think we're providing a service, reading meters, and whether it's a zero read or a not zero read, then there should be a fee attached to that. On the other hand, is it $30? In a certain sense, if you were to leave somebody who's using a minimal amount of water, they only pay for the water that they use, not the $30. So there's a kind of a logical inconsistency there. If we've got a fixed cost for running this or maintaining the service, then we should have a fixed cost. And I know that we've kind of been around that bush before, not when I was on the board, but it does seem as though that some minimum cost should be in the bill, because we've got a fixed cost that we have to cover.
Well, that's a completely different issue from what's facing this.
Right, no, I understand, but it's connected. If we were charging him $5 a month, given his condition at the moment, would this be an issue?
And
What
again,
is
it's,
the $30 cover? That's $360 a year. What is that for?
that is the fee to cover the meter readers that have to go out.
Meter
with
readers,
it.
what do they do?
They go out and collect, they have I think it's I don't know if it's a handheld
Computer.
unit, computer, that goes out to the property, gets the telemetry
And
from the
that
meter.
costs $30?
Well, it's not just that, it's the cost for the truck, the cost of the guy, the cost of the Penachuk. There's a whole,
Well, all right,
Set
the
of fixed
cost of
costs.
the person driving down my street, stopping at my neighbor's house on either side of me, it costs $30 to make a 10-second stop?
so we're mixing, hold on, we're mixing the issues here. Your issue is you don't want to have to pay for this, you think you're done, you want to be disconnected from route.
That's
So
right.
if we want to get into another discussion about fees and water meters, I'll put that on another agenda item. Right now, we're going to stay with your issue about getting that $30 fee out and the meter taken care
So
of.
currently, that says cross connection.
Mhm.
It's been verified by Water Safety Services. There is no cross connection. There is no danger of cross connection.
I don't agree with that. I don't have the document, which
You want
we
to
get a copy
read it?
of it. If you wish, you may, but before you do that, we also have rules and regulations, and while that's their opinion, as they went out and did it, we also have rules and our regulations say, this is the conditions that we establish, and we're gonna hold people to do a cut and cap. And having that meter still there, and available, bless you, that's another whole step. My suggestion is that we remove the meter, lock the line, and then you're done.
I have no problem with that.
But I want to do that on the condition, and Mary Beth is able to go out and visually look at it and confirm that that's okay.
She can do that, and I'll show her the inside, the water piping. She can clearly see it's cut and cap with the foundation.
Okay. Mary Beth, does that work? Will that meet the requirements, do you believe? I mean, I know Mark just laid that out.
It's whatever, they're your regulations, whatever you want me to do, that's what I will do.
That's
I
all.
don't necessarily feel it meets the intent of the law.
Yeah, no, that's my question. Bernie, do you have a?
No, I think if there's an easier solution, then I'm I'm for that, as long as it abides by the general intent of the law.
And I think with our lock on that line, shutting off at the curb stop, and then shutting off there, that's
Yeah,
two
that's
shut-offs.
two shut-offs.
That's two shut-offs, and that should, so we'll shut off at the street, we'll shut off, and your pit will remove the
There's
meter.
no gate between my meter pit and the main. If it
Yes, there is.
Then it's not very good.
There's a curb stop. I know there was. I was working for the water department when it was installed, and they were all installed.
So it
So,
must be
yeah.
Especially the
around-
new-
Yeah, there's probably, yeah, they'll have to go with, a lot of them are under the ground like that much.
Okay.
You just won't see them.
That's
Still
fine.
find it.
Got it up there.
I know for a fact, it's on Wilson Pond, there's curb stops on all the services.
Okay,
So,
because the main is only about 15 feet
Mm-hmm.
from my meter pit.
okay, so, do we need to vote on that?
I'll make that motion that we will accept that as an acceptable solution.
Subject to Mary Beth's inspection.
Okay, so I apologize.
No,
I
it's
had to
okay.
leave the room.
Yep.
Would you mind-
So, the motion is, you said
That,
the
that,
motion.
our motion is that shutting the curb stop off and locking the meter pit, taking the meter out, is an acceptable solution,
Using our lock.
using our lock.
The second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So, Mr. Vasili, that, I hope that moves it to the space where you need it to be. Okay.
$30 goes away.
Yeah, as does the pit.
That'd be great. Anytime you're ready, let me know when she's leaving.
She'll contact you to do that. So, okay. Mary Beth, you got that? Or
Yep,
Katie?
I'm just making sure I get it. Yep.
Okay. So, is that? Next one is cross connection for Blaze Crotty, 15 Isabel Circle, regarding a private well. And is Mr. Crotty here?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Give us a minute to look at the documents.
It's really basically the same issue you just talked about.
Okay.
The only difference is I don't have a well, I don't have a pit.
What do you have a straight connection to the house from the curb stop?
It's in the house,
Hmm.
but it's been cut and capped
Cut and capped at the street or in the house?
in the house.
Yeah, it's got to be done at the street, and again, not with all respect to yourself, maybe the next homeowner, if there's a pipe in there and it's capped inside your house, and the meter's gone, there's nothing to say, oh, you know, I can hook up and no one's gonna see what I'm doing. That's the reason for it to be done at the curb stop. So, without the meter pit, with Mr. Vasili, we can actually intercede in two places, at the street
But you
and
got
at
a
the
shut
pit.
off in the front, at the street.
And the shut off, I don't think the shut off can be locked down
No.
the street. Yeah, that's the problem. So, are you,
Would
is
it
your,
be
qu-
cheaper to put something there that you could lock, that's been in the $600?
If you were to put a meter pit in, it'd probably cost you probably 3 or 4 times that.
That's the only thing the only solution.
is to be put, yeah,
I'd say
versus,
The two solutions are, and the cheaper one is to cut and cap it at the main.
that's the, those are the, with the situation, those are the options that we look at, is, just having it crimped inside the house, we can't do anything. We'll shut off at the street, but there's nothing to say someone can't get the tool and turn it on. Whereas if it's cut and capped at the street, at the curb stop, you'd have to have a digger and excavation, and someone would notice, and, I mean, that would be a major undertaking to re-engineer your water back into the house on your own. And we would eventually see that water, but that's regardless. The way that we've determined to do this is to prevent the connection or any possibility of getting that water into your house. Again, it's the DEP has got some pretty stringent rules that we try to abide by. And so is your question, what can you do besides cut and cap?
Yeah, because I'm not gonna cut and cap.
Then that has to be done. You just can't exist with the water, the line snipped in the house.
Let me pass it out to you first before we move forward. This is chronologically what's happened in my property since I started with the well. And the copies for all that. I also want to show you this. I don't have copies of this for you yet. But you're talking about your fees and requirements?
Yeah.
Those were the fees that were effective July 1st, 2015.
Yeah.
Okay? And here are your fees that you snuck in on February 9th.
Well, I'd object to saying they were snuck in. They were done at a public meeting, and they were voted on by the board, and the meetings are broadcast as well as put up on the web. So, again, I would object
Well,
to
those are the
sneaking
two
in.
times that they were revised. Okay? The new policy didn't go into effect until February 9th. My well was in and operating before the end of the year.
And with respect to the fee, we did send out, we had a company come in, who did the surveys with the Board of Health? What's that firm's name?
Surveys with the Board of Health,
Of the private wells?
water safety?
Yeah, is that the company? Water Safety. So we had Water Safety come in this year, working in conjunction with ourselves and the Board of Health to survey and, find where the private wells are. Because the records in the town were not what they should have been, but it doesn't matter. Just one question with your note here. You've replaced your potable water with a well?
Pardon me?
Your water is not just for watering your lawn, it's for drinking and personal use?
Right.
Okay.
There's been no water use from the town of that property all year.
Okay.
So,
Has the meter been removed?
no,
Okay. So, and no cut and cap has been performed yet?
no.
So is your water line hooked up still?
Well, I think I hope that they shut it off at the street. That's what I requested, but
Yeah, that's a,
I don't think so. I don't know, I'd have to pull the record.
yeah. So even if it was turned off at the street, that's, valves fail, if that failed and that water flowed into your house, that would be a potential cross-contamination, and we just can't have that. And that I'm adamant on. I'm not gonna be on Channel 7 with someone said, there's E. coli in the water system, how did that happen? We had a cross-connection. We just can't take the risk. I'm not saying it's you, but the situation is difficult. But it's from a public safety and a public health, we've got to have those hard cuts.
on the new regulations you voted on February 9th, we put that together. You said like to stay in town water if I pay $30 a month. I get to keep my meter.
The meter can stay. We still have to cut and cap it at the meter and have a physical airspace between your meter and where your well comes in. Those cannot be connected.
They're not gonna do it.
I just asked you, you said they were.
No, but the water that comes in from the town is on one side of the house, and the water that comes in from the well is on another side.
But they both go into your plumbing, correct?
No, it's capped on the floor. Has nothing to do with it. I've got a whole different system. I've got a filtering system and everything. Like the two lines, the electric and the water, come in to a separate hole that we had put in the foundation.
So Mary Beth, it sounds like an inspection's needed to see if it's been cut and capped.
I believe the water safety already come out to your property? Did water safety come out to your property already?
No, I called them a couple of times now, hasn't made it.
Okay. I mean, they're pretty busy. I mean, we're gonna
Oh.
discuss that later on. I mean, they're,
Yeah, I know, straight out.
we've had a good response from the town of Raleigh with allowing us to come in and do these inspections, so they're straight out.
So right now, I think what we need to do is get the water safety's report. So I know we're gonna talk about that later, but let's at least maybe put him in the front of the list, if we can do that. Can we put him at the front of the list with water safety to just get this
Oh, yes,
addressed?
of course.
Okay, so that's our next step, is get the report from water safety. They'll tell us what meets, what doesn't meet, and then,
Pictures would be helpful.
yeah, or some photos, but I'd rather get it from an independent source. So, right now, just continue without a finding, I guess. That's not the right term, but we need some more information before we can act on it, if that's acceptable right now. Okay.
I'm not paying the $30, but we're waiting to discuss this.
We'll address that when we get the information.
And John? Oh, I just lost my train. Okay, so one thing after going through 27 Wilson Pond, we have 3 of these potential cross connections we're discussing with the private well and town water. I need some direction from the board, because your staff is responding to these customers based upon what the board has set for the regulations. And it seems like every time we come to the meeting, the board has talked about several different options and made several different changes per the situation. We already have customers that have cut and capped, they're abided by the town's regulations, and have cut and capped at the street, and their meter has been removed, and that was it. And we worked with them because we had one where the developer had put the shut off
In the middle of the
up
driveway.
in the middle of the driveway, and we said, no, we're not gonna disturb your driveway, we can come back towards the main. And we left the stop because we would've had to ruin the driveway. And we worked with these customers as to what would be best to do to them. The other one also had a unique situation, just because of the age of the service and the time frame it was installed, but we worked with that one as well. So you already have customers that have been following the regulations. Your staff is sending letters out to customers based upon what the regulations tells us we're supposed to do. So there's a little bit, I guess I need some direction, because I don't want to be telling people one thing, and then they get a letter, and then they're taking time out to come to the board, and then there's something else.
The direction is that we've set the policy, we've set the procedure, and there's a way to do it. The reason that we have a board of people made up from in the town is to address unique circumstances. And we're not going to waive things, we're not going to say, don't worry, you don't have to do it, but it's to apply some common sense and logic where we have to. And that's what we're trying to do. So there will continue to be some exceptions as people want to come up and make a case. Sometimes it'll be something we can do, a meter pit. Sometimes they don't, there's nothing we can do. So I'd say carry on as is, and we'll address, just making sure it picks you out. We'll address each circumstances if it's unique.
So can I make a suggestion? If we have any other customers that come forward, I think it should come before the board before we have, I mean, these poor gentlemen have been going through this for 4 or 5 months now. Can I make a suggestion that before the staff responds or customer service responds, that at least we make initial contact with customers, but then bring it before the board before we go through this long, I mean, I'm just trying to help it
Bring it
here.
with a recommendation. That's what I would ask.
Right, bring it
them to
before
do.
the board, and if there's exceptions, if something like this comes up, if we bring it before the board, have the discussions, give the direction to the staff, and we take it from there.
Yeah, no problem.
What do you think of that? I mean,
Sounds good to me.
okay.
I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah, so the motion.
Yeah, because this is definitely dragged out for these people way too long.
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion / question?
Sure.
People pull a permit for a well, whether it's the Board of Health or whatever, then the Board of Health should have what your requirements are gonna be going forward with the well. So the person makes a decision then, well, maybe I don't wanna do the well. At least if they know everything up front,
Until
we
we
make a
It
decision.
should be.
Not finding out after the fact.
No, I agree, but we can send a note to the Board of Health. We can't control, We can't tell them, hey, you need to do this.
Yes, you can.
Well, we can make a recommendation to the
Well,
Board
I'm
of
sure
Health.
that if you make a recommendation and discuss it with the Board of Selectmen, that I think it's a logical choice from everybody in the town. So that everybody knows everything up front. If you go forward with the well, you're gonna be possibly responsible for all these costs. Then they decide
We
whether
should
they want
make
to.
up a paper that they hand to them when they go for the application.
BOH, yeah. No, I don't disagree, but again, we don't do the process and the procedures for BOH. Hopefully, we can send a note to them that, please be advised
Request.
and requested to do this. That's about the most that we can do.
Please put this with all well attachments.
No, I think that's a good idea. So
Yeah.
more information is not.
And I know we've actually this year, changes in the boards, we've worked closer with the Board of Health than in many years previously. I was also on the Board of Health years ago, the chairman, and we discussed the whole situation with the cross connections, and that's why we jointly brought the DEP in together. It's, I don't want to say sins of the past, but maybe just things that weren't done in the past that should have been. And some of it's the pain of cleaning up and catching up. But that's a great recommendation, and, we'll send a note to the BOH.
Have you also done an audit of the town, every house, to make sure they're on water, whether it's well water or town water, and being billed properly?
We
Don't
are,
answer that yet, but think about it first.
It's in process, I guess is the best way to describe it.
It is.
It's in process.
absolutely.
Yep. No, and we've actually, if you watch any of these meetings, we have had records from the past as they went to Pennachuck that, I don't know what the heck was going on in the past with some of the physical records. It's the only way I can describe it. And then things have popped up, and we had a request for an abatement that, the first blush, it wasn't enough. And we went back and went through those records with Pennachuck and our own records, physical records, you know what I'm talking about? The rear one. And we increased the size of the abatement for the person. It wasn't everything they were looking for, but we pretty much doubled what they were gonna get back, just because of what you're saying. Some of the records, and if it's happened, we'll stand here and say, yep, the records are bad. And we're trying to fix those.
Talking about people that get $20 water bill every month.
This person had a property that they got a several $1,000 water bill, and they weren't in it, and they
I
had a
don't know what
problem.
you're talking about,
Yeah, that was tragic, but again, the records were what they were. We worked with it, tried to work with him, and we got something done for him while he's fixing the property. Anybody else comment?
No, thank you.
So,
But can you just automatically put the fees in at any time of the year you feel like changing them?
it's outside of anything else? Yeah, Mark could make a motion, Bernie could second it, and they could outvote me. I'm not saying they do that, but yeah, the board has the power to just do whatever they want with the rates. We still want to live in town, so we don't. But, if you remember a year and a half ago, they put a $20 surcharge on everyone. Really bad idea. People let them know that. The board, that happened before I joined. Right after I got on, we rescinded it. One of the goals I said when I ran was to try and keep the rates stable for 3 years. The first year it was stable, this fiscal year they're stable, and God willing, we'll be able to keep the third year stable. The water's expensive. I don't water my lawn, and I've got a whole irrigation system. But again, I think 3 years is reasonable, and then we'll look at that after those 3 years. And if we make adjustments, we'll have a rate survey done. We'll know what's going on. Usage, especially with the drought, it's kind of playing havoc with that. Still has to fund what gets pumped and processed. So it's a long-winded answer to your question. Yeah, the board at any time can do whatever they want.
And do they update that on the webpage?
We'd have hearings well before, but yes, it would be up to
Where
you.
would the consumer get that information when you change rates?
We'd send a note, you'd get a notice in the bill with Pennachuck, I believe. That's the way it was done. If we were to change the rates, how would the public know?
We would hold a public hearing, so it would be advertised in the newspaper, on the web pages, public comment, whatever, like we did the last time.
And I believe a slip would go in one of the bills.
If there was time, we would get it on, depending on the timing on the billing, we
Yeah.
could put a message on the bill, but typically we don't because it doesn't coordinate with the billing cycle.
In the future, if I'm on the board and we have to, it'll be at least 2 months prior that we're gonna tell, no surprises, that's miserable.
So the fees that I showed you, the one from July and then the other one on February 9th, they could be out of the
Well, those kind of fees for like process, that was that sheet you gave me, those are just the menu of getting a new hookup or there's like 30 things there. I'm talking about the water rates. That's more of the fees that are everyday people deal with. The other ones, I mean, we're not gonna send out spend the money to broadly broadcast that. We would have the meetings, we'd tell people, we'd make the change, we'd post it to the website right after the meeting, when it was effective.
Wouldn't I be held responsible for the rates that were in effect when I did the well? And not for when you changed them in February, when the well was already up and operating for 3 months?
Well, the difference there is that if you were to take the action at this time, you're then under the regulations of the fees in effect now. So if it's digging a well and you applied, 6 months ago, but to get the curb stop open, then now the fee is today, this is what the cost would be to do it. And so it's more real time with respect to that.
But even when I had the conversation with Mary Beth about, capping it at the street, it was still prior to the February 9th rule change.
When these residents went through this process, the board, we were in the process of working on these things and rolling these things out. They say timing is everything, and the board set the fee, and at the time of setting that fee, you would be subject to that fee because you still have the water meter. So the staff has to go by with what the board votes on and advises us to do, and then we in turn that information over to customer service and billing, which is Penachuk, and they are only doing exactly what they are instructed to basically through me, which is through the board. So then they start tacking that fee onto your water bill, which they were instructed to do, and we gave them the list. And it wasn't just, you three folks that are here. There are many other people in town that have private wells and town water. They use it for irrigation and whatnot. So those folks are also subject to the $30 monthly charge. And we have people that are paying the charge that have contacted us and said, no, we want to they have an irrigation well. It's not tied at all. It goes to they can't even remotely tie it into the system at all. It was never part of their system. And we're finding these things out, and that's why we are working with the Board of Health, because they do oversee private wells. So when somebody goes to the Board of Health, we're learning from how it didn't go, and we're trying to improve on it. But typically, a person would go to the Board of Health to apply for an application for a well, whether you were going to build a home and you were in an area that wasn't supplied by water and you wanted to opt for a well because there's no water main there. You would apply at the Board of Health, and the water department would not be notified. Typically, what happens is it usually goes the opposite way, is that people's wells fail, and then they call us to tie them into the water system because their well has failed, because they can't, with the current standards, there's nowhere else to drill a new well. It's not worth to redevelop the existing well, the residential well, so they tie into the water system. So, I apologize for all the bugs, but we're trying to get a good handle on it, and we have been working with customers, the board has, to try to work around, because we do understand about the expensive landscaping, curb stops in the middle of the driveway, something that, a homeowner had no control over where these things went. The developer or contractor, went about his business and put these things in. So, and the board is just trying to do the right thing, and we're trying to follow the regulation, and so is the staff. So
Okay.
just
At this point, what we talked about earlier is we're gonna move you up on the list and get the inspection done, and then we'll take that report and we'll take the next step. So, We'll move that along. Okay. Next one is cross connection Scott Powers, 73 Boxer Road. Is Mr. Powers, okay? Is this
This is the one on
the
the
greenhouse?
Yes.
You guys, yeah, we've been here before about the greenhouse? Okay, and what's going on now?
He's willing to put the meter pit in.
Okay,
You folks agreed on the June 28th meeting unanimously that we could put, that you approved the meter pit installation.
yep.
And it fell onto Mary Beth's hands to make the final decision. I haven't had a result yet on that.
I know we talked about it, but I don't think we voted on it.
You did vote.
I thought we said yes.
Yes.
So what's up, what do we need now?
Well, I submitted an application for the meter pit, and I haven't got the approval yet. I've got a price to have it installed by TWS Division.
Yeah, okay.
And I gave you each a piece of paper this evening on the situation. It's typical of Mr. Passetti's situation.
Right, you were putting in a meter pit that we could lock,
Yes.
that way if there's an emergency, we could
Yes.
still have to connect, but, okay, yeah, I recall that.
Yep.
The application for domestic water service.
So we responded to Mr. Powers, we sent him a letter on July 22nd. It's in your packet.
Okay. 7/22, okay. But that is in contradiction, either way. That's in contradiction to what we had said at the last meeting, that we would put the meter pit in and we'd make it lockable, very similar to what we just did tonight.
Yes.
That was my understanding.
Huh. Do we have the minutes from the 28th? Yeah, we have the June 28 minutes. Let's take a look. This is Scott Powers, right. Need time to review and ask Scott to fill out an application service. Lisa said they're willing to spend the money on this because the end result will be a clean looking yard. Chairman Manning asked if they ever had to switch to town water. No, not in 30 years. Commissioner Collins thanks them for coming up with a meaningful solution. Manning asked Weiser to research the proposal, and Superintendent advises Scott of the necessary steps. I didn't read all the rest of it. Locks in the curb. Obviously, the connection has to be separate. I think that this is very similar to the solution when we had looked at the meter pit out the back and we explained that.
I drew a picture first, and then we went out
And
after.
we actually
and I
looked
showed
at
you
it.
the actual-
We actually went and looked at it. I'd never seen one. So Mary Beth, this is very similar to what we just talked about with Mr. Powers. And so I think we should move forward with the same solution. That they're gonna pay to put a meter pit in. It'll be turned off at the curb stop, locked inside the meter pit. And I believe you wanted to have a meter in there.
No, me too.
You didn't want a meter. We'll install the meter if you ever decide to go to water. Yeah.
At which point we would disconnect from our well, so we want to be in compliance with.
That's the protection, is we have the lock on it, so we have to be involved in turning it back on, make sure everything's separate.
And just as where I grew up, I know kids would take a bolt cutter and do something like that. But you can only go so far.
Yeah. I think it needs it.
But yeah, I think it does.
We're working very hard to try and comply with what we say.
Understood. Yep. So Mary Beth, given that our circumstances tonight is very similar, we want to move forward with this one as well. Okay, or do we need to vote on this?
I'll make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Just,
Is that you can do it?
Yeah.
just
Oh,
one
go
thing.
ahead.
Before you, we would purchase the equipment on your behalf, and then what we would do is we'll get a quote, we'll send you over the quote, and then you'll have to come into the office and drop off a check. Not made out to us, made out to Thai Sales. I think we briefly talked about that. And then when the equipment comes in, we would notify you, and then you could go ahead and schedule the work to be done.
Can Jesse Warren buy that?
I'm sorry?
Can Jesse Warren buy that?
No,
The reason we haven't, we've had a couple of times where people have gone out and bought the stuff, it's not quite the right
It's
stuff.
not.
Okay.
This way, and you also get the contractor discount.
There's no problem.
Um,
Okay, that's fine.
It's pricey stuff anyways, but
It's not like we're locking it up.
No, we're not making any money off it. It's direct cost to them.
No problem.
We just act as the middleman. We don't get
Just to make
paid.
sure all this stuff is there. when
Right.
We're,
Appropriate.
No problem.
okay.
Sounds good to me.
Good. All right. Number 4, discuss the billing cycle option presented by Penachek on 6/7. First of each month, presented 6/7 by Penachek. Ready, Meredith? The billing cycle? Are you ready?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I mean, it says it's read schedule to reading on the first of each month. And what is the net change, number of days read?
The issue right along has been, because the number of days in a particular month that we read the water meter, we always read on the last Wednesday of each month, and we break the year down into 4 quarters, and in each quarter, there always ends up being a day that's 35 days. So the board had discussed at previous meetings about changing the read cycle to a particular day, like
Leave it
dates,
out.
like the first of the month, we read the water meters. And then from there, based upon that it would still fluctuate because we're not gonna read the meters on a Saturday, Sunday, or a holiday, depending on whatever date you pick, that there would still be 31 days, there would be still 32 days, 34 days, depending on where it fell, but it would be, I guess, a little closer to 30 days in a read cycle.
we'll keep it really smoother.
Yeah, but the only other thing is, if I recall what Penachek said is when you do the crossover, that you're gonna get a big spike.
There's gonna
So
be a big
July,
spike.
that's the first month that you see it.
What, this one?
The
Yeah.
lower box, the first
37
readings in
days.
July is 37
Yeah.
days.
So
So my
You're gonna have to take the
My
bite for the
suggestion-
first time.
suggestion is that we're going to switch over. We switch over so that big spike is in a low usage month rather than a really high usage month. And that way the hit is going to be, we're going to upset fewer people. We're going to still upset people, but
and just off the top of your head, what's the lowest use month? Lowest use month? Is it like February, March? Is it
The
December?
number of
January?
days?
Lowest usage.
Oh, I have to
Okay.
look at the records. I don't
Okay.
look at
You mean you don't have that off the top of your head?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
well, but I would imagine that any month besides
Obviously.
June, July, and August is going to be appreciably lower. So starting it in July, I just don't think
Maybe
is a very
October,
good idea.
just as an arbitrary.
As
pick.
long as it's not too far distant.
I don't know.
But I would point out mathematically that there are still going to be a certain number of people whose bills, they're going to have more months when they're paying the higher rent. That's just the way the math is.
Yeah, there is no good answer here.
There's no
I mean,
good
we can stay status quo, or we can change this. I gotta be honest, I don't see an advantage to making a change. We've had 2 or 3 complaints, which with all due
I
respect.
hear a lot of complaints from around town.
But they need to come here and let us know.
It is a drawback of having a block rate tiered structure. This is mandated by the DEP. They want utilities to have an ascending block structure, which is what we have.
Mhm.
And there is I don't think people want to get 15 water bills a year. That would be a billing nightmare for the town and for the town accountant.
It would raise the rates.
It would,
You have to
it
pay
could,
for it.
well, you
Yeah.
have, yeah, you pay for it one way or the other, so the reason why it's like that, it's not because we're trying to generate more money and put people in the higher tier, it's just that it's where it falls in the billing cycle of how we actually read the meters,
This is
the number of days.
one day. See how even it is? You're only talking a day or two. Sometimes you have spikes from 28 days to 35 days.
So it's a
Which
25%.
is a huge,
5 spikes on the top, and there's
but they're a lot bigger spikes.
there's only 1 spike in the bottom, 2 spikes,
Yeah.
37 and 32.
Well, 37 is the first one,
Yeah,
and then it goes, it levels right out after that.
yeah.
It's only
Day
a
or
10,
two.
it's only a
So-
10% spike variance.
Where this goes up and down from 28 to
So
35.
there's 5 big spikes in this one, and there's really just,
And the way it was
32
put to
isn't-
me was people on fixed incomes. It makes a difference to them,
then that matters.
you know, and when you're talking our elderly
You're definitely out
population.
in the community a lot more than I am.
And that's what I'm hearing. And if it's more even, it's easier to plan.
So my only question is that, one, and someone earlier, how do we communicate this, it's gonna happen? Because people will get really upset if we make the change and they don't know it. And, you know, there's an expense to adding inserts into the bill.
Very simple.
Yep, so, I think what we wanna do is put this off until the next meeting, but for the next meeting, could you go through and just tell us what the usage rates are for the months? And we'll try and pick out the right month, make sure we got enough space to put in a mailer, we're gonna have to take that expense to tell people that we're changing the billing methodology. Well, you know, we need to tell people ahead of time.
How about if I draft up something that would be for the insert, that the board could take a look at, with the language and the wording.
Yep.
In your packet, actually, you have the full fiscal 16 budget, which shows you exactly the gallons sold each month, total sold. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
It's in your packet, so you already have that to look at.
Is it on the operations report?
It's, should be in the superintendent's report. Towards the back of the packet, so that is in here. Was in here.
Okay, we'll look when we get there. But yeah, for the next meeting, if you draft up some language, and then we'll look at that when we get to that part of the meeting. And the next time we get together, we'll put a plan together in place on that one. Good? Good? All right. So that brings us to number 5, discuss the customer service survey.
Can I make a suggestion? I mean, it's certainly, I've got copies of the draft here, but given how much time, and given the length of this, we've already spent, and the length of the
Push off
agenda,
the next.
we can push it off. I would recommend that you guys go to the web link that is attached to that memo and take a look, and then kind of send any, use the hard copy you have to make edits, and then send them to Mary Beth, and then I can do a version 2.0 of the survey. So perhaps you should just say to the audience what it is.
Sure. So Bernie has been working on a survey for customers, a customer survey for water customers. He's put a draft together, but we're going to table it for tonight. He's given it to us. We can look at it. We can't talk outside the meeting, so we'll give the feedback to Mary Beth. Mary Beth will give it to Bernie, and then we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting. You can do
There's
that.
other ones we
Yep. Thank you, Bernie. Appreciate that. Update on the lead and copper sampling program, number 6.
We went out in the month of June and did our required annual lead and copper samples, and we have the results. We notified all the customers of their results. We and we are in compliance with the regulation.
So, on older houses, they're coming out okay too?
Yes.
Good.
I would like to add for the record that this information is very helpful. When we looked at the other data, it looked like we were very close to the action level, and in fact we're 10% of the action level. Our lead level is really minuscule in this sample. Even the highest ratings, the highest contaminants are significantly below the action level. So I think this is the kind of level of precision, when we talked about it before, that I was hoping that we would get, and it looks like we are in, thankfully, very good shape.
Anything standing out there, Mary Beth, or just it's in
No.
good shape?
No, everything, all the results were below the action levels, as Bernie pointed out.
Well below, I
Yeah.
will say. This is on, I believe this is on the web. Don't we have the lead report on the right?
This isn't on the webpage yet because I haven't had a chance to take it off the report and put it in a spreadsheet.
That's where those where it looks like we're much closer to the action level than we actually are.
So when this gets out there, people will be able to see this.
Yes.
Okay. So for the folks at home, give it a
Good news.
about a week, Mary Beth.
I would prefer not to have a deadline at this point. I'm working on it.
Okay. So as you monitor the water website, that's good news. It'll be out there. Someone can certainly come in and get a copy if they wish. The lead
Well,
report.
we send this is the customer, we sample at the tap. So we send a letter to each of the customers that we sample that with their
I'm
results.
talking about the broad audience, everybody. If
This
they
will
want a
be-
copy of this, can they get it?
Yes, this is available, will be available on the webpage at some point.
In the interim, if someone is dying to see this, can they come in and request a copy of it?
Yes.
Okay, that's all, just come see Katie. Nice job. Update on the Prospect Hill Stormwater Project.
No, we had the pre-construction meeting on July 21st. So the contractor was elected. This is the joint project with the Board of Selectmen and the Water Department. The T. Ford Company was awarded is going to be the general contractor. And just wanted to give the board, notice that we're moving forward. So we're actually going to see some activity happening over there. Yes.
No, they did, is it gonna be just, it's not gonna be a paved road going up there, correct?
It's just going to be a gravel road.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I mean, but they're gonna do the sides and, okay.
Yes.
How's it with respect to the budget? Did the bid come in?
Well, if you recall, the town went back at town meeting because it came in over budget.
Yeah,
So we have the funds necessary with the water department's portion, and then what the town has is money to fund the project. So we'll be moving forward, and we should see some activity over at the base. They're going to be, they've taken the traffic control in considerations and some other issues into consideration. So Taylor and Howard will be overseeing everything, and we'll be, between Pat and I, the highway, we'll be checking in. So we're in good shape. So I'm actually very excited because we're walking up the hill right now.
yeah, okay.
I had
Good.
to walk up with the DEP yesterday. Well, I didn't walk up, I should rephrase. I didn't walk up. But the representative did.
Oh, okay. All right, good.
I didn't think this last fall.
No comment. Update on the residential cross-connection control program.
So just a quick update, what I was going to say is that we have conducted 36 surveys so far. And that's real. We're out there pretty much letting water safety, they're the ones because they're going out to the homes. So they're kind of sort of scheduling the appointments. They're sending the letters out to the customers. They're scheduling the appointments. And at some point in the process, we get the surveys, we get the letters, and then we get the results after. So we have received the first group of that they went out early on in May and June, So we have gotten some of those results back, but we haven't got the next batch yet.
Okay. Because 73 Boxer Road is on here. So did they do the report? Do we have that report
Yes,
yet?
the board had asked, yes, they would have gone out to 73 Boston, yes.
But do we have that report in hand, or?
I don't have it here in the packet, I'll be honest with you, I don't recall, I'd have to look.
So that's what we said, we'll get it for the next, either requested or go check the records and let's get it.
No,
for the next meeting.
you've already had your survey, yes, a
We're
while
all
ago.
set with the full person.
Yeah, you
Oh,
were,
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
The
15
minutes
is
are
wrong.
wrong.
yeah,
Wrong
so
address,
they're all
sorry
done
about
with their survey, yeah.
So could, because I'm a novice at this, could somebody explain what an active violation might consist of?
Private well. Irrigation, an outside hose bib,
But what makes that a violation?
because you can't have a cross connection. An active violation.
So
would be-
there's a cross connection. So
If
a
you have-
violation is a cross connection.
If you have a cross connection, it's violating Mass, 310 CMR 22, state regulations. And there's fines associated, not just with the water department, but the state can fine you as well. At the state level, there are fines for this, because it's a public health concern.
No, I understand that. So when the water safety people go out, thankfully 34 of 36, these people have wells, there's no violation. So what is it that they would see that would indicate that there was an actual violation?
We actually do have violations with people that have drinking water wells. They are tied directly, both systems are tied together.
Oh, well, that's what I'm
They're in the
asking.
process of working with those customers to eliminate that.
So the private well and their public water system are actually connected.
Yes.
Live
I-
connection, not
They switch
insufficient
back and
separation,
forth
they're
from
actually
town
connected.
water to well water whenever they want.
Okay.
Those are the
All
ones
right.
who-
Well, yeah, I think that's a good problem.
And that's what,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a separate issue than what we've been dealing with.
Do we know how many wells there are? Did we get that number yet from the BOH? So that's what these guys want us.
we're working on updating their records.
Okay. Any other questions? Number 9, water treatment plant flood update. And Mary Beth, I saw the email you sent with respect to that pipe was not torqued down, or the bolts, just there, bring it up, there's a 4-inch potable water main inside the water treatment plant, and it's, it's 2 flanges, and there's bolts that hold it together, and correct me if I'm mistaken,
Victrola couplings.
but the nuts that hold that on were not torqued down to the standard. The forensics looked at it and said they did not compress. It was clear evidence that they were not stuck together. So.
So, if you can look up on the screen, what you're looking at in that picture is what the operators found that morning. Those are the stairs that go down into the basement, what we call the pipe gallery, where all our pumps and motors are for the sludge handling and waste handling systems. And it was about 13 feet of water. So the water actually was at, the pitch was cut off, but it actually came to the second step from the top. And it was quite a sight. It is on our webpage. We were putting up as quickly and as best we could. We have all the way, the whole process, everything that we did, all the systems that we got up and running, and the level of effort that went into it. Right up until the last one we just put up, which was on August 1st. We're up and running, and the last thing that we're waiting on, and it's because of delivery time, which is an 8 to 9 week lead time, is the dehumidifier for the basement. They're not a stock item, but we do have 3 portable dehumidifiers in the basement right now handling that. So Just want to remind people that this was a water quantity issue, not a water quality issue during the event. We were actually offline for what, about 24 hours maybe, and then we were given the green light from the DEP to go turn the plant on and then go into the 24 manning hours. So
And we now are on remote operation.
we are back to normal operations, which is Monday through Friday, 7 to 3, and then on call, yes. So one of the things that the insurance company did, we worked very well with Maya. They were great with us as far as allowing us to move forward with whatever we needed to get the facility up online. And we had a representative from Vitalik. Vitalik is the manufacturer of the couplings that were installed on the piping in the mechanical room for the 4-inch domestic water supply. So for those that haven't seen what was going on, the water plant's domestic water supply, we had a leak, and it was a pretty bad one. It all went through the water meter. It was all captured on our water meter. It was about 95,000 gallons of water that went through the water meter as a result of this leak. So one of the things they found was, and if you'll see the report, it is extremely detailed. They did a great job assessing a couple of the highlights. Things were not aligned properly. They determined that some of the piping that was used was cut too short, which caused some issues. That whole system has since been replaced under the direction of a professional that deals with and is an expert, so to speak, in these Vitalik couplings. We asked Vitalik to recommend for us a reliable company, which they did. They were great. They came in, we put it all back together correctly, and so that system is fine again.
Good.
I think one additional thing, I think they found 2 or 3 more couplings that were not correctly same problem. So,
Yes, thank you, Bernie. So, because we really, we were really looking at things, the primary operator, Rob Swiniarski, was working with a representative from Vitalik, and we had gotten the specs. So Rob and one of the other operators, they were looking in the room, and one of the things with these couplings is there's like a rubber gasket, like anything, and the gasket is not supposed to be exposed at all. So and there's a lot of pipes and a lot of fittings, and there's, I don't know, 35 of those couplings in that room. They've all been replaced. But what happened was, because in the corner, when you walk in the room, they do a visual inspection of the room on a daily basis. But when you walk in, some of the equipment, unless you poke your head around and really look, but they did as a result of this. So we found 2 or I think 3 couplings that were not, appeared to not be installed correctly. So I instructed them to shut the main water line off to the domestic supply when they left for the night, so this could not, even happen until we got it fixed. So they were shutting that off each night and then turning it on because they needed the water during the day. But that is not covered under the insurance, so the cost was all on us to fix that.
Money well spent.
Did you say the pipes were installed improperly?
It's the insurance company who's chasing that. Maya.
Not by the insurance company, it's for the contractor who did the work and the engineers who supposedly inspected the work.
It's.
I know it's past the 1-year warranty, but still, if a visual inspection would caught that, the engineer of record was supposed to sign off on the work being done properly, should have seen it.
You right?
Yeah.
It would be up to the board what you do.
Well, I'm gonna wait until the insurance company comes back as to why, that's gonna be a nightmare. And so they,
Probably should send a notification to them when town council gets, that's ridiculous.
that's been discussed, we just kind of talked to Debbie Egan, so we're just waiting for the insurance to come back, and then we'll start pursuing those avenues. Oh, yeah.
This is going to be a
Yeah. So Jeff, why don't you just share, this is, the
Anybody
report I was
wants to look
holding
at
up,
it, here, there's a report.
that's the forensics that were done and explains why. So I'm gonna move on, try and get us moving along here. Mary Beth, nice job with the team on that one.
Thank you.
Good, and we're on to new business. I'm just gonna stop things for a second. Are you guys here for a specific,
We have
item?
two, yeah.
Which one?
Number two, on your new business.
Okay, well, then I'll move you up to the front.
Appreciate that, thank you.
I mean, it's only one item, but we can get you in and out a little faster, so. Just gonna change the order of new business. Discuss and vote to authorize the water superintendent to send out the letters of award for emergency and routine repair. So item 2 under new business. So, Mary Beth, do you have something you wanna cover with this first?
No, I just need the board to vote to authorize me to send out the letter of award. That's what that is.
That's our question.
So who was the little bit, I'm just reading the things here.
Robert Pike Construction out of Salisbury.
Okay, and so gentlemen, before we kind of go into it, what is, you're not from Pike, you're from Spencer?
Correct.
Okay.
And we, my question would be, in determining the low bid amount, it's very clear that they were looking for a lump sum for 4 hours, a lump sum for 8 hours. Do you have the bid form in front of you?
I have,
You do, yeah.
this is the bid form? Okay.
We'll put the bid form in the folder, but
I'm not sure, no. So all I have is the summary.
That's the summary. On the actual bid form, full day rate, it's written out lump sum 8 hours, lump sum 4 hours. What these gentlemen did was basically take that, divide it by 8 hours, whatever that number comes to be, that's what they stated. So there were 4 bidders total, there were 2 of us that filled out the form, I will say correctly. There were 2 that did not. Mr. Pike is one of the ones that did not fill out correctly.
Yeah, that bid looks,
Can I say something on this? I'm the one who did the bid opening, and we recorded in a public forum the numbers that were provided. The bid tab, the bid form that they're referring to doesn't look like this. This is to organize all of it for you. The bid tab that everybody had to turn in had the 3 categories. We were looking for a day rate of a lump sum for 8, a day rate, a half for 4 hours, and then the overtime rate. These numbers are directly recorded from what each of the firms submitted. They were not altered, there was nothing wrong with them. When we had the bid opening, we also go back after the bid opening and we review to make sure that we didn't miss anything and everything was in place. These bids that were submitted, there was nothing wrong with them. This is what they bid.
So then you still have the bid forms that were submitted?
We have all that stuff.
Okay, then clearly, our representative who's here, goes to a couple bid openings every day. We report our results and our competitors' results. And this is what was reported to me. Do you have a bid form that you could show them where it says, just the format is what I'm asking for. It says lump sum total. And what he's saying to me is that they didn't understand what lump sum means. I mean, you take your 8 hours, if it's $50 an hour, and if it's 8 hours, you put in 400 there and you write out 400. So, Mr. Pike had put down, for an example, 50. That would be for an 8-hour day.
Yeah, these numbers don't make any sense, so it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, Mr. Pike's bid numbers don't make sense.
He wasn't the lowest bidder either, from what my tabulation was. So there was another party that had underbid us, but his bid was disallowed due to a mislabeled envelope. And that is common. There was a bid in Peabody today, a guy got discarded or disallowed for improperly labeled.
so just help me out, so the 2100 you're saying was generated by 40 hours, I mean, 8
No.
hours?
No, on the, if we just, I don't know if she has a bid form that we were provided online or wherever my guy got it. I think he came up, I think Ian came up and physically got a copy of the actual bid form. But there was a form that we had to fill out. That's what I was kind of looking for. And I can point it out to you on that.
This is what was turned in from each of the, this is the, whoever, these are the list of, who came in and came to get the bids. That's our bid.
So there's one page and all that. on
So
the back.
towards the end,
So is this
That's
the-
correct. May I come around?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just can't see it at that distance.
Yeah, so this is what you're talking about, this is the big sheet?
Exactly.
Okay, so here's the full day rate.
Right,
So
so
that-
I'm saying lump sum in dollars. So if we look at each of those, the way he recorded it, he's telling me that there was a mistake on two of these. And hence, there you go, somebody has added that, it looks like after the fact, but that's what he recorded, right there. It was full day rate for 8 hours, lump sum in dollars, and somebody wrote 260, 260. So that, point taken, it shouldn't be up to the awarding authority to do the math, or very clear what the bid
I
cost.
see what you're saying now.
That's that amount divided by
Oh,
8 is
okay.
262 an
I'm
hour.
not trying to be a wise guy.
No, no, that's why I asked you to come up,
Yeah.
so, because
We
just
wanna-
off
we
the
wanna get
surface
this
here,
right.
this
Yeah,
looks,
no.
this doesn't look,
So
it's so far out of whack that it makes me go, either everyone else is wrong, or that this one, it doesn't look right.
This is what we're currently paying right now with Pike, is $2,100 for a full day. These are the current rates
That's
they're charging.
irrelevant. This
This
is
is
the
what they're
public
charging
bid.
us right now, in general, because they have the contract right now. This is their rates right now.
So are they paying are they submitting prevailing wage sheets weekly to you for their certified payroll through prevailing wage? Because if they're working for you now, this is subject to prevailing wage, they should be paying their employees prevailing wage rates, correct?
I have no idea how they
I
pay
do.
their employees.
But yeah, they should be submitting certified payroll to you weekly. We do that.
We don't hire them weekly. it's
We
just
don't
a-
hire them
they're on a
weekly.
contingent
It's
basis,
on our
I
emergency
understand, so
as
for any
needed.
period that work is done, he would be required to submit to you, the awarding authority, prevailing wage sheets for any hours that his employees work.
That's
And that is the law. So those numbers that
So-
we've presented to you are
So that would
based
be
on,
your, that's per hour,
that's correct.
okay.
I believe it is, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
what
I just
it
did
is,
the math, that time, that
That's my
divided by
bid?
8, yeah, this is yours,
but- Okay,
so that divided by 8, is that your rate?
right,
Okay.
right, but what we're getting to here is it's very clear how they want it totaled. Lump sum in dollars, not an hourly rate, you do the math and figure it out. That's not what's meant, so.
But what it looks like here is that is what they're saying is their lump sum.
Yeah, to me, on a public bid opening, that's why we're here. That someone who's taken a different colored ink on that piece of paper you have the thumb on,
Oh, It's fine.
and changed,
No, nobody changed
they just-
anything.
they did the-
During the bid opening, I said, oh, they put in the hourly. They put in the hourly. And I said, oh, well, I need to see what it is in order to calculate the bid. I'm the one who did it. It was done in a public meeting, it wasn't done under,
Yeah, I don't know if that's cool or kosher,
then we'll have to rebid it.
yeah.
'Cause
No,
you can't award it to these, and it's not even.
I know, but by doing, I think that, I'm not a lawyer, but is that kosher that you did their bid, and all the bids and RFPs I do, they actually put the wrong number in there, bottom line. So I think we need to rebid it.
So for example, when we put out the materials and fittings bid, all right, and I was talking to Bernie about this today, in it, it's a multi-level bid. It's a typical bid that utilities put out, okay? It's to get our meters, our grass, our repair plans. If Mark bids on it, and he says, oh geez, I can't get a good price on iron. No bid, no bid, no bid. All right, then John comes along and he says, oh, I can get a great price, I'm gonna put a bid in. But you can only put in for 25 of the 75 things we have on the list. And here comes Bernie. He can bid on it all. How do you tally that? So we always, with that bid, and anyone, we go in there, and it's Katie and I, and we say, well, geez, Bernie can provide us with all the stuff, and it varies. I mean, those are like drastic numbers, but we have to get apples to apples.
So I think going forward, and I didn't know that, I would say, I would like to know that of the 100 items in there, their bid is addressing 25%. This bid addresses, you just gave me the percentage that they're
I was
bidding
using
on.
those as arbitrary numbers, they mean nothing. Okay, I don't want you to get used, those are not etched in stone, those numbers popped in my head.
Well, whatever the numbers are, I'm a quant guy, so I like the
And I'm
numbers.
sorry that I use those numbers, bad example.
Well, whatever-
That pops out to me as being
8% piece,
very odd.
yeah, it
He
looks,
does that.
okay.
Get them mixed up.
Oh, this is in my package.
No, this was not.
That was, oh, this one was, I'm sorry. So I think right now, looking at that, we can't even award the bid because I think there was, contamination's not the right word, but there was, it's just not where it needs to be.
Then I'll have to put it back out to bid again.
Yep, hang on, Larry?
We've had a similar experience with the Pine Grove restoration, or whatever you want to call it. And I think you have to disqualify those bids that are incorrect, okay? And then I would go to the town administrator or legal counsel to see whether you can rebid the whole thing, or whether you have to award it to those people that submitted.
It's already been written.
Yeah, I just want it fair, that's all. So,
And that's all, we're just trying to point it out. I was a resident here in Raleigh for quite some time, I've moved to Boxer. But you're trying to do the right thing here, I can see it, I've gone through some of your minutes. No, hey, you got a mess, you're doing a hell of a job, and I mean that. But I needed to point this out, and that's a legally binding bid, as far as I'm concerned, we're the winning bid. We will work that out with you. I mean, nobody's here to cause any big issues. I mean that.
I think, Larry, thank you for your comment about the work that's been done. I think there's the lady sitting over in the corner.
There you go.
So kudos there.
Bids were disqualified based on they exceeded the 26-page limit.
Yeah. There's a number of things, bids are
Even though
very
you would think that,
specific to be fair.
Yeah, I'm not a contract administrator, so my thought is to contact Deb and just ask her, do we have to go with this one? Do we need to rebid it? I just don't know what the right thing to do is. So if you can.
I think basically, you talk with Deb, or she might refer you to legal counsel to see what you have to do.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no.
No, I-
We totally agree.
So in the meantime, I'm gonna need the board to extend the existing contract with Pike for 60 days in the event I have an issue, because their contract is gonna expire.
After 60, it can be 30.
Well, if I have to rebid this and put this all back out, it's not gonna happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
Debbie's, I believe, is out tomorrow, so
Yeah,
I'm
let's
gonna
do
need some
60 days.
time.
That's not really legally, but,
Well, we need to have
check
coverage,
with counsel.
so
Yep, I got you.
we're
I
gonna.
cannot I cannot be left without somebody to dig if I have a main break
We're here.
because of this.
In large numbers.
Okay. So, I'll do 30 days right now.
Okay.
So, you wanna make a motion to.
I'll second 30 days.
Oh, are you, okay, so the motion is to
Make the motion second.
extend the Pike contract for 30 days, and then we'll extend it if we need to, but we'll get feedback from, okay?
Thank you all very much.
Certainly.
Yep.
So, all in favor?
Thank you.
Aye, opposed? Good. So Mary Beth, just chase that down, Deb, and let me know what the next step is. So, all right, go back to order. I lost my pen.
Thank you,
Discuss
Larry.
number one. What's that?
I was thanking Larry.
Yeah. Just, I'll wait till Mary Beth comes back.
that bid is way off.
I can't wait till you get to number 10.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. That is a typo.
You're not gonna sing?
You don't want to hear me
Yeah,
sing.
that's what I say, thank you.
Although I will say, I lost a competition at work one time, and I had to sing ABBA a cappella. And didn't they fall out of their chairs when I knew all the words? Too much time in the car and traffic. So,
American Idol tryout.
so we can be looking at the materials and fittings bid. I know we did this last year. And that definitely saved money. And then this one. What's the difference of the letters? 4, 1, 2, 3, 6. You guys look at the tail of this? There's circles everywhere, and there's 6 different bottom lines. I don't see
The letters suggest that the thing is being handed out separately. Different pieces have been awarded to different bids.
Okay.
I don't have circles on mine.
No. Oh. What's that, Mary Beth?
John got the dummies version.
Yeah.
Oh, so sorry, excuse me. This is the survey sheet for September.
So there's one asterisk per line, which presumably means...
So, Mary Beth, we're on number 1, the vote to authorize the superintendent's article letter for award of materials and fittings bids. And we're trying to make head to tails out of what we got here.
Okay, so the low bidder for iron fittings is Thai Sales.
So is that what the circle means, or the
So
asterisk?
the items that are circled and asterisks are the different companies that are gonna be awarded the different categories. So we have brass, repair fittings, iron fittings, meters, hydrants, and pipe. And there's
Okay.
2 pages.
So if we go, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 6 things they could bid on,
Yep.
and no one won it in aggregate?
Aggregate?
Aggregate, total.
Total.
No,
Okay. And so this is the appropriate way to do it
yes.
by category?
This is how I've always,
So we did it last year, right?
and I did it last year.
Yeah, okay. So let's just walk through. Brass fittings, the low bidder was
Brass
Styles.
Company.
Brass, and that was 13.
They also were the low bidder for pipe.
Pipe.
So they'll be awarded pipe and brass.
Okay.
EJP was the low bidder for hydrants.
Whoops, no, just go right down. Repair fittings is
Actually, I'm sorry.
HD.
Yes, HD Supply is the low bidder for repair fittings.
Iron fittings and meters is Thai Sales.
Yes.
And iron fittings and meters, iron fittings and meters. There's some big gaps there with folks. That's a good price. And then hydrants was to EJP.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this all looks
Don't.
appropriate. Any questions, guys?
No?
Bernie?
No questions.
That all looks right down the line. So,
How do these bid prices fit with the budget? Is this above, below?
This is if we were to purchase, when we do the bid spec, I have to give them a number to bid on. So we just throw the number out there of 6 of everything. So,
So there's no tie back to the budget?
right, this is just, so we lock in to $250 for a 6-inch gate valve or whatever it costs, rather than being out there for the market up and down.
it's a hedge. So, let's just hedge and get a commitment on a price that we lock for the year.
Yes.
So, yeah, we do that foreign exchange, trading. It's good practice.
The only question I have is what's the 51,000 for meters and 1,000 for meters? Is that per unit?
They bid on a couple of brass items.
It's under meters, that's all.
Right, there's some things that are under the meters, I can go and pull the bid.
Okay, I was just curious, is this a big difference?
Yeah, there
So
was,
it's not responsive.
The only 2 bidders.
Well,
There's really only one bid.
we're committed to a certain brand.
right.
on meters, so you're pretty limited on who you can get.
And
to
these are the
charge.
other vendors of that range.
Entertain a motion?
Make a motion to what?
As indicated.
As indicated.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes.
So, I guess the letter just struck me as ordinary, Beth. I mean, if the bid was on a speculative number of requirements, we're sending out a letter basically saying that we're awarding you a certain amount of money. So I don't.
No, we're saying you were the low bid of. Not saying that we're gonna give you that. It's a letter of award saying that this is what you bid, and because you bid it, we're gonna award you the contract. These companies do not expect us to spend this money on all their stuff.
But in their bids, we can hold them accountable for the dollar numbers that they actually did per item.
And they do honor it. And if they make a mistake, we catch it, they change it.
Yeah, it's been a good way to drive the numbers down the budget in previous years. All right. Request to the Board of Selectmen for the annual road opening permit. Mark, did you go to that meeting?
I did not, I wasn't available.
I was there and was duly embarrassed by my inability to really be responsive to the
Yeah, I
questions
made it to
from the
first time it was
selectmen.
on the agenda, but the second time I had one issue
Oh.
that I didn't take care of.
So, did you get any feedback, Mary Beth, from the selectmen? Or?
I haven't really, but I watched the meeting from home, and Bernie was there. So, just so that we're clear, so what happens is with the road opening permit, we don't mind filling out the road opening permit, that wasn't the issue, is that part of the permit process is that we have to call in a dig safe. It's required on the permit before anybody will, sign off. The dig safe ticket is only good for 30 days. So we plan out and schedule every single thing you do. You have the book there in front of you. So what happens is if we call in dig safe, the ticket is only valid for 30 days. Dig safe will fine you if you have too many re-ups of
Callbacks,
tickets.
Remarkings.
The remarks. So we actually have 5 remarks from the first round of road opening permits that we were delayed in getting signed. So we had to just call, 2 days ago, we had to call and re-up those tickets in order for us to be able
Which
to.
means everybody has to go out and remark.
Exactly. Everybody has to come out again and remark, and they were just there. So that's the problem with that. But now, I haven't gotten any official notification, but now the town administrator, Debbie Egan, was authorized to sign off on the permits to try to help with the process. I don't know what it is I'm supposed to submit, but some kind of plan attached
Diagram.
to the diagram or a plan of the job. I didn't get any clarification as to what level of degree, but
I think there was just to see what the scope of whatever work was going to be required.
I know, but that's what I mean. I don't know what level of detail am I supposed to
There was a
attach.
sketch is what I think.
What
But
kind of-
anyway, it's still vague, I grant you.
Well, I need to know because we are in the process of preparing road opening permits for other work. So I kind of need to know what I'm supposed to attach. Am I supposed to get a 8.5 by 11?
Can you
and
ask Deb what she needs?
It was not clear. It was not specified. That's what I'm saying. There was no direction as to what was required for a level of detail of the drawing of the plan that needed to be submitted. It was sufficient. It just
The
said,
two issues that came up, people weren't clear where the hydrant was. That was the first thing. So there's a street address, but they weren't clear about
Well,
what the
hydrants
environment.
don't have street addresses.
No,
Right.
well, okay.
So you have to give it to the closest, I'm the one that did all the marking and labeling of all the hydrants.
Right, I'm trying to
and the
explain-
addresses and stuff, myself and a member of the water department. And they were all to the closest
Right,
building,
so,
and they're pretty obvious where they are.
right, but not,
So
If
who's
you're
asking
there,
for the
they don't
sketch?
see a whoever's going to sign off on this, and the current proposal is for Deb to sign off.
Okay.
And the issue was, is there an easier way to kind of provide context for where this hydrant is and what the scope of the work might be in terms of the road on that? That's all that they were.
Can we give them a Google map with an X? You know, let's ask her if that's good enough. I mean, if they're just asking for a location, then do we have a hydrant map?
No.
We don't? Okay, then, you know, if we know the nearest address, you go to Google Maps, put it in, and you look left to right, there's the boom, circle it, submit that.
A Google map?
Or
Have you ever-
pictometry. The town pays a lot of money for pictometry, which is even
I
clearer.
don't even know what that is. What's that?
It's the
That's-
same thing, except it's done more accurate. You can actually do measurements on it and stuff.
Yeah,
Is it available to the public?
$10,000.
The town spent a lot of money for it, and it's available to all the town
Do
departments.
we have access to that?
I believe you do.
Ask,
Talk to Brett.
I believe it's through the conservation agent.
But it seems like those records are not matching ours. The fire department, which is the most important thing, knows where every single hydrant is in town. That's the most important thing. Regardless if it's number 500 or 200. That's important. Our records match the fire department's records. And things that are on some other database that hasn't been updated by anybody from the water department, because we don't use whatever this system is. We don't.
we should. It's not-
We
it's
have,
available.
it's not tied to anything we have, and then again, that involves man-hours, because a program of that such is just as good as the person inputting the data. So, we don't have people available to be working on a database.
It's not a database, it is a tool that's available.
Image.
It's no different than Google Maps. You go in, put the address in, whoop, and it pulls it up.
What is it called, John?
It's pictometry.
Pit?
Pictometry.
Send her an email with it.
Richard H. with the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission.
Oh, okay, well, then why didn't you say that?
How
Okay,
you know?
okay, thank you.
See, I went to school to learn how to use it and stuff years ago, but we stopped using it because it was just easier to use Google Maps.
But I can
Well,
tell you
we-
that if that's what the database you're talking about, because it is a database, somebody had to set that up, it's not accurate. Our stuff, the water department has not given the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission any information, and I can't tell you how many years, for stuff that's been done in the system.
Could use Google Maps. I mean, it's an image. That's all you need to do is
Just an
provide the image and circle it on the location, the plug is here.
It won't,
And-
All they're looking for is a sketch, or we'll say, where is it? Right now, they don't know, is it in a ravine or in
Yeah.
the middle of
And that's my point. Google Maps will tell you that. You can just blow it up and, you know, and
The only
that-
difference is
that's
with
it.
pictometry, you can actually go in closer and be more clear.
But she's saying it's not updated, so.
Right.
at
Well,
that
no,
point-
no, it doesn't.
No, it's pictures.
It's pictures, it's images, it's
Just like
exactly
you
the
go
same
on
as
Google
Google
Maps.
Maps.
Either one, whichever one makes you happy and makes them happy.
Whichever is the easiest to use.
Yeah, I don't really care.
I
It's
guess
an
we'll
image
do it, we'll
software.
submit it, if it's not good enough, we'll try something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think Deborah's going to, I think my takeaway was that they were willing to not burden us with having to go through the selectmen. This was
Yeah.
an
Yeah,
easy
this is- I mean,
solution.
It's
It's
what we
not
were
an
looking for.
undue burden to go
And I-
click, 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 address, boom. Yeah, there it is. Circle, boom,
The
you're done.
only, the caveat was that the selectmen wanted to at least be notified. They wouldn't have to sign off, but simply saying if we were doing this work, the road was dug up here, and this was, so it was a FYI, basically.
All right, I want to move this along if we're okay with this.
Yep.
So, I worked 36 hours this weekend, so I'm still tired. This, number 4, discuss notification of a regular and seasonal water service memo to town departments. We talked about this in the spring because, I don't want to say it's chaos, but there was a lot of consternation with other town departments wanting water done, or water turned on, turned off, blah, blah, blah. So the water department is not the babysitter for anybody that needs water. We're a business. If you want water, you ask us. If you want it turned off, you tell us, we'll turn it off. That's it. No offense, Mark, it's not like 15, 20 years ago where you guys were here and it was just turning things on and off to deliver the water,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
There's now a whole infrastructure in place to manage. That's what Mary Beth does, manages it well. And people need to use the process. I think we want them to call Penachuk for the services. And we want to send a note out to folks because it's now August, and that's what I said. When it gets to August, well, let's tell people if you need stuff done, get a hold of Penachuk, make the request. If they have a problem, call Mary Beth. If they're not happy with Mary Beth, get a hold of me. So there's an escalation point for everybody as well. But my first question is going to be, did you talk to Penachuk? Second question, did you talk to Mary Beth? If you just circumvent the process and come to me, you're going to get put right back to say, I hear you, but you got to follow the process. We just don't have the staff. It's lean and mean. So it's out there, and then I'll get off the soapbox. Mary Beth, do you have anything to add?
Well, this was the draft letter we had prepared, and I know it's been a while since the board looked at it. So this is what I was going to be sending out to all departments in town. So if you want to take a look at that.
I'm going to read this so the people on the camera can do it too. So, regular and seasonal water service to all departments from the Board of Water Commissioners. Any town department that is a water customer needs to contact customer service at 800-553-5191. I'm going to make sure I don't have the mic buried here. To schedule an appointment for any activation or deactivation of water service, whether it be for routine plumbing repairs to existing apparatuses or seasonal service. A work order needs to be generated for all work done at the customer's premise. The work order authorizes us to perform this service. We have a whole team of people. They are scheduled out by Penachuk, and beyond that, it's best effort if it comes outside of that service list. So we have contracted with Penachuk for customer service and billing. They are the custodian of our customer records. Their work order gets attached to that record. The distribution system and department operation regulations, section 7.18, customer service. The town of Raleigh Water Department contracted it out with Penachuk. Blah, blah, blah. It's the same as I read up there. Section 10.15, seasonal customers. It is the responsibility of seasonal water customers to contact the customer service at 800-553-5191 to schedule the turn off of seasonal services. The water department will not automatically go out each season to perform this service. A work order needs to be generated. The water needs to enter the premises only under the customer's control. A representative must be present to witness the activation and deactivation of the seasonal service. I'm just going to finish first. The procedure is in place to avoid wasted water through leakage or potential property damage. The customer shall be responsible for draining and winterizing the plumbing of the subject dwelling or service. So if you've got pipes running out into your ball field or something, it's the park department or the garden department or whatever, the town landing, it's their service. The water department has processes and procedures to help in place to help manage the delivery of water in a cost-effective manner. We appreciate your cooperation in following our regulations, as this will allow us to address your needs in a timely manner and provide you with good customer service. Bernie.
And the penultimate paragraph, it says a representative of who? Customer? Us? The water department?
A customer representative thing. Unless they choose not to witness it, I think, Mary Beth. They can choose to just say, turn it off. Or do we really, do you need to have someone standing there watching you turn it off on the commons?
Well, if it's a meter that is inside somewhere, yes, because the reason we want someone there is because if there are any issues, we turn something on and walk away, they're gonna blame us for something getting flooded or a leak somewhere. So we can't, so we just say, someone's gonna be there. You want it turned on, someone's gotta be there. You want it turned off,
That's what we do with the residential.
Yes,
And the
exactly.
residential and business consumers, we require someone there, and so for the town department, we'd ask them to have someone there to be responsible. So,
So can I just suggest a wordsmith to avoid leaks or potential damage to property and drop the wasted water through leakage?
I'm sorry, Bernie, where is this?
On the same penultimate paragraph, just say that this procedure is in place to avoid leaks or potential damage to property.
Okay, so this, if I change this means a regulation change. This is directly from your current regulations. So,
we
can I
have to
just
take
change
that
it,
up.
or do we have to vote? Do
Well,
we have
if
to?
you can leave it there.
Yeah, it's okay right now. But down the road, when we start doing updates to our procedures, it's something
Yeah,
that
I prefer shorter. All readers prefer shorter. to get the
So Bernie, all of this stuff is on our webpage, so at some point, you know, the board can feel free to review all
I'm
the
going to do
pages.
this after I finish with the customers, the survey.
And if you have any changes, we can bring it before the board.
Make a motion to accept it.
Mark made a motion to accept, or to publish.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good, good. Let's get out before the end of the month, Mary Beth, and just let the town departments know if you need it on or off, you gotta tell us. Clock. Mary Beth, I wanna, I worked, about 30 hours this weekend. I am still tired. And it has been out straight and redoing schedules to get to the Concom the other night. I don't want to go much past 8:30, the max. I don't know how you gentlemen feel. I'd like to see what we can pull out and say what the next meeting is on the 16th, if that's possible. Because this is a huge agenda.
Can we at least vote, can I have the opportunity to just pick?
That's what I'm asking you to do.
We're asking-
Pick a few
we're
things.
asking you.
Because there are
That's
some things that
exactly.
we should, so this SCADA bid,
That's why I'm asking you right now. So let's do the SCADA bid and then we'll figure out what's going to go next. And my apologies to everybody that's here, but it's been a long, hard week. So, what is the SCADA bid for?
so we have the SCADA computer,
Right.
and our SCADA, that's our controlling system for the water department's treatment operations. And we put this out to bid. This is the company that will come in and is on standby for emergency and routine repairs of the computer system.
Is this the guy Sullivan that gets called when the
Well,
SCADA is
current-
out up at the?
Currently it is, but this particular round, there was a new low bidder, and it was Ari Erickson Company.
Okay. Do you know them?
Yes, I do.
Do you like them?
Yes, I do.
How big of a difference is it? Not bad.
Pretty close, just to knock up on the equipment. Is a big difference, 5%.
The other difference was, Ari Erickson was $95 an hour, Northeast Controls was $120 an hour. And then the closeness between Ari Erickson and Northeast Integrated Systems was they were 20%, even though they were lower in price, we tend to buy more parts than not, spare parts, so 20% markup versus 15% markup, and that's why we chose Ari Erickson.
And where were they located?
I believe Walpole.
They're both South Shore. Walpole's closer than Rainbow at least.
I'll make that motion to accept it.
A little bit of Erickson.
Yep.
Right?
so who's Kimmel? So level to Mr. Kimmel.
Northeast Controls.
So Joe Sullivan is Northeast, and David Kimmel.
Northeast
Doesn't say.
Integrated, they're two different.
It doesn't say his name. It just says his name on here, not the firm.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, we can fix that letter.
Second,
So the motion is to award the SCADA contract to Ari Erickson at $647.18 as the bid.
it's a one-year contract.
And so that 647, what's that include? Preventative maintenance, new installation, 95, oh, it sets the rates,
Yes.
okay. Miles, off-road trails. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Awarded.
Can we also skip down to new business number 10?
Hang on.
So,
Question?
is-
You wanna hear us sing?
I'm sorry.
Can you've got conditions here for the W-9s and the certificate of insurance. Neither of those are listed in the bid.
I'll have to look at the original bid. I didn't prepare this form, Katie did, so I don't know if it wasn't checked because, I don't know, I'll have to look.
COI?
It's a certificate of insurance.
It's
I think.
required, it's a town.
The COI is that's boilerplate.
Yeah.
I
We
get it
can't
all the
have a
time.
work without it anyway.
Right, I'm only going by what I see here.
They will
It
be
says
the
it's
first
not
check
there.
without that stuff.
In order to initiate the business, they have to submit to the,
We should just make sure that he's got it, that's it.
you know what, he can't operate without it.
That's not what he's saying.
So
Yeah, I'm not,
not
I'm
checked
not
off.
suggesting that we change the bid, I'm just saying, it's not, verify why it's not.
because he's not gonna give it to us unless he was awarded the contract.
Unless
You
you put
don't-
it as part of the submittals, as a requirement to submit a W-9 or submit a certificate of insurance with the bid package, it's not something they have to submit. If it was a
Oh,
requirement,
So
This
it's
is
not
a
a
generic
requirement.
form.
It's
Yeah.
not a requirement.
Well, it's a requirement to operate once that they get the bid.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's all.
So, I'm sorry.
No, it's good.
Good catch, Mike.
You do them, I do them so often that you look at it and go, it's just perfunctory, so. All right, Mary Beth, where do you want to skip to now?
New business number 10, which you have that in your blue folder.
You warmed up your pipes? This is a misspelling.
Sing.
Oh, that's right.
That's
You're
what I
all
was talking
singing.
about earlier.
Yes, that's why
I skipped this so you could sing.
the goofy comment. And this is with.
I make a motion to amend the wording on the agenda.
Bernie doesn't want to sing.
Yeah, hold on, let me see. Is this a frequent contract, an annual contract?
Yes, it is. Annual maintenance contract for the compressors.
Yeah, we signed this last year, I think.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. All right. So I sign this, or do you? I'll sign it.
I put it there for the board to sign because, I mean, there's been some question as to what I can sign and can't sign contracts, so,
How much is the total for this?
I don't know, it's
1,500, 1,589. Yeah, number of invoices, yeah, one at 1,589. That's signed there, but
thank you.
I'll leave that with all this other signed stuff. And last review,
General business number 2,
sign section, allow people to accept the changes. Is that the stuff that will get in the,
yeah, every time I make a change to the emergency response plan, I need the board to sign and
Yeah.
authorize.
does this address the,
No, I'll be doing that again.
Okay.
I'm in the process of revising the emergency response plan
okay.
as
And
far
what-
as,
What is the update here?
it's on the attached sheet.
Oh, okay, I thought that was just on the signature page. I just want to add a list of electricians, add a list of plumbers, Okay. So it's adding a list of electricians to section 410 and a list of plumbers to 410.
So as a result of the flood, we found out that we did not have a list of electricians or plumbers, so we now do.
But that list does not, of plumbers does not include the guys who did the plumbing. Just checking.
So, the other things, if we can take from 6 on, put those on for the next agenda, Mary Beth. Lost revenue, Mr. Comey's letter, Concom, applying herbicide. I read the drip report, you know, that it was actually done the way that it's supposed to, which is good. But regardless, we'll do the consent order and get the signs up, which is, you know,
Okay,
not
so
heavy lifting.
We're tabling the notice of violation.
Not so much tabling it, but I went to the Concom, I'll discuss it right now. I went to the Concom on, what night was that, Tuesday night. You know, they read your notes, they read Brett's notes, and bottom line, you know, there was probably just a little bit of a breakdown of communications, just needed to have a phone call made between the two departments to just get the things clarified. Some further work with Katie clarified that we wasn't broadcast spraying, and again, just communications. Phone calls would help that, and then Brett wants to do probably going to do a site visit, I guess. I don't recall, but they'll do an action item, or what do they call that? Consent order. They'll do a consent order, and the content of it was to put up 2 or 3 posts in the back where the property falls off, where the spraying situation took care of, to say no cut, no spray. And
Already did it.
oh, did you? Oh,
They're ordered.
okay. So great.
The
And,
trees were planted today. We're hydro seeding the area tomorrow, and the mulch is going down.
Let me ask you about hydro seed. How are you going to do that if there's no one here to water before 9 or out? You guys are all here before 9.
We'll be starting at 6 a.m. tomorrow.
All right.
No water ban at 6 a.m.
I'm just teasing.
I know.
It's been a long
Just
so
make
that's
sure the mulch doesn't catch on fire.
Does she want to give us a quick update on the sanitary survey?
oh, I forgot about the same. Is it not on there? It is. Oh, all right. Well, we're still before 8:30, so yeah.
Okay, so the one important thing that I want to know is we have no violations.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Yes,
Thank you for good work.
yes, that was
Did all
the
of
most
the
important
employees?
thing. However, the survey is broken down into 3 sections. They have the violation section, the deficiency section, and then the recommendation section, table A, B, and C. We will be getting a pretty hefty table B, which is the deficiencies. As I've mentioned, and we all know, the regulations change all the time. In the past year, there have been several changes to the regulation, and I apologize because some of them I had no idea. I never received any notification from anybody, and usually they send out memos, we get stuff in the mail, and it's like a total coliform room. We knew a year in advance that that was going to be happening, and we started working towards making sure we're compliant. So the thing with deficiencies is you have to take care of them, and I'll have to write a report and let the DEP know when I plan on doing this. They'll report back if that's acceptable time frame. Some of those things will come with a time frame. You must comply by. If we don't comply, those will then move up to the violation category. But that's not going to happen. We'll fix it. So what are some of the deficiencies? Well, number 2, they want us to be able to prove to them that it is a 4-log removal, contact time. I can tell you right now. 4-log removal, that's the disinfection. Your treatment plant is rated as a 4-log removal with your disinfection for your contact time for the chlorine. I can tell you right now just because of the length of pipe that is there and the distance to the first customer, we're not gonna be able to do a calculation that proves we're a 4-log removal. So I still have to go through the exercise of pulling all the data together and preparing the spreadsheets for the DEP. But it's, just the distance of the pipe. If we have, so what would happen is you have to prove 4-log removal with the amount of chlorine and the contacts in it. And from where we dose the chlorine to where it goes out in the water main to the first customer, there isn't sufficient distance for contact time in the pipe before it reaches the first customer.
So is there sufficient elapsed time for the chlorine to take effect? Is that what we're saying?
To meet the 4-log removal of viruses and bacteria.
Right.
So that's, it's too complicated for me to go in because it confuses me sometimes too. It's just, that was one thing, the contact time. The sample tap over at, we have the tank, there were a few issues. One we've already taken care of today. I was a little surprised. Usually the DEP is happy to see that you have a screen on your overflow pipe and they're not picky about mesh size. Well, we don't have the correct mesh size. So today, Rob found it, 24 mesh is what we need. And we ordered it through USA Blue Book, a Granger I mean. And so when we get that, we'll install the correct mesh size. One of the bigger concerns, which will be a capital expense for the water department, is to a sample tap at the tank. Could be $25,000 to $50,000 upgrade. And you don't have a choice. This is CMR 22, new requirement under total coliform rule. You must sample your tank. Now, we already have a sample tap. It's in the vault. I've been going back.
I used to take samples.
Not anymore. They will not allow you to take a sample from the vault. I will be taking a sample from the vault until such time that we are able to come up with the funds to bring it up above ground. So what she said was that if you get an E. coli hit because of you're not going to be able to use your sample tap as an excuse, they will take it as your entire water storage tank is contaminated with E. coli, and we will have to go through the whole process. So I will be putting something together for the board for budget time for this project. A big issue was staffing. Huge issue was the staffing and not having enough certified operators. They understand that there is a shortage of operators in general, but yet they're not cutting anybody any slack because of it, that they are going by the book and the regulation that says you must have A, B, C, and D. We're working on it. We're still advertising. We did a second interview today for the distribution working foreman, so there's some promise there. We'll be checking references and doing the background check and the Cory check, and we'll see how that goes. What else?
The ball field,
Excuse me?
the ball field in well 2?
The ball field at well number 2, yes.
So can I just ask, when you say that we don't have enough qualified operators, how short are we?
4.
And is that because the current employees aren't qualified, or
We have vacant positions.
so we have 4
We
vacant
can't fill them.
We have 4 vacant positions.
They can't get people to apply. So anyways,
The other issue that came up, which was well number 2, zone 1. We have a ball field, it's in the zone 1. There's porta toilet, as far as I can tell, seasonally. I've been emailing with the Parks and...
I looked last week, it wasn't there.
Well, there's a
They got it
meeting
in.
set up. Debbie Egan got an email late this afternoon. She's trying to coordinate a meeting with me, Dave Peterson, Parks and Rec Director, or person who's in charge of Parks and Rec, Rob Spiniarski, and myself, to discuss these things, because it came up in the sanitary survey that that's a problem. It's not that it's a new problem, It's always been a problem. It's on our website in our SWAP report that well number 2, it was recommended from the DEP to the town to decommission the ball field and take over the property, the water department, for the Zone 1, for protection of the water supply. There's not supposed to be any activity, human activity in a Zone 1.
Just so anybody that's watching this, it's not Mary Beth, it's not the town, it's not the board, it's the evil empire in Boston.
But it's always been that way, and I
I
don't
just want
know.
people to understand that it's not coming from us.
So, I don't know the history is whatever happened, but that is where we're at, so that's gonna be a problem. I don't know if that's gonna be in the violation, because it is in the Zone 1. She said there were no violations, but it could have come under the deficiency, so that's gonna be an issue. We're gonna have to,
Are you gonna be generating a report with all this stuff?
when I get the report from them, you will get a copy for sure. Fencing was an issue up at the tank. Fencing was an issue at well number 2, because look at the fencing that's around those buildings. It's like 4 feet tall.
Yeah.
That's really not
Yeah.
security
Keep the-
fence.
Keep the dogs out.
So those were an issue. The fact that the property, so one of the things we may have to do is install fencing if the town decides to keep that ball field and then incorporate like conservation restrictions and some other things. We may have to put a fence, we may have to fence in the entire side to block.
Look at Donald Trump down there.
I know,
You know?
I know.
10-foot fence with concertina wire? I mean,
We already have an article to put, and money's funded in a project to do fencing up at the tank, because that came up, and I told her we're working on it with Tater and Howard to do the fencing project.
yeah.
Once the stormwater and the road is fixed, and we can get people up there, we'll be putting the fencing in. So those were some of the highlights, but there were a few things that did come up. It's gonna be a capital expense to the water department, based upon some of these new regulation changes.
All right, when we get that, we'll discuss that.
Yes.
So, all right. Good. The next things I want to do is, there's a letter here from Mr. Comley, and I'm going to read into the record. So he's not here, but did submit it. And it was dated July 6th, to whom it may concern, to the Raleigh Water Department. As you know, on June 13th, around 10 a.m., there was work being done to disconnect the supply line at Kittery Ave. I received adequate notice, and the water department did a very good job of communicating with us, so we could plan for the loss of water from what I understood would be an hour to an hour and a half. Unfortunately, it's my understanding that the shut-off did not go planned, and the water was off until 3:30 that afternoon. As a result, Seaview and its clients experienced a very challenging day. The purpose of this letter is to make you aware that when we lose water for any amount of time, we must undergo an extreme change of routine that can be physically, financially, and mechanically burdensome. The cost we incurred on that day included $720 worth of emergency water at about $1 per gallon, a total of 55 hours of overtime averaging $990. We're also estimating that we had to use approximately 700 gallons to flush our system out when the water was turned back on. We also experienced issues with our flushometer and mixing valves, which had to be replaced because of malfunctions related to sediment and, quite possibly, a deficient citation from the Commonwealth of Mass Department of Public Health. The valves were replaced at a cost of approximately $4,500 to satisfy state guidelines. We understand that outages like these are inadvertent and hope in the future that will be considered when these shut-offs are conducted. I hope that if they do not become a common occurrence. Again, the purpose of this letter is just to help you understand how our facility and how our residents are affected, and also hope that you will consider a reasonable reimbursement of our costs associated with this outage totaling $6,210. If you have any questions or require additional documentation, please do not hesitate to call. Before we have any discussion, wasn't the Kittery Ave where we had the main break after we were doing the fix? Because I know someone had sediment in their water. Is that the same saddle that snapped?
Yes, yes.
So
When
was-
they went to crimp the service, the saddle crumpled, and then
Yeah,
they had to shut down.
Very close in that area.
yeah, so I mean, it's a really act of God type of activity. We do not, well, you know, we definitely try to make sure we take care of Seaview because of the residents there. They're very sensitive to the issues. Due to the age of the infrastructure, it's unfortunate that happened, and it did happen, but we have not in the past, nor I think we would in the future, consider compensation for an outage. I don't know if you have any-
Settlements, exactly.
Bernie?
Well, the only thing that strikes me is the damage to their valves caused by the event, which is essentially, they figure 75% of the actual cost is the coverage. So I don't know.
Well, it's not stated that it's attributable, it just says that we experienced issues, which we had to replace because of malfunctions, and, you know, alleged to the sediment and possibly an efficient citation. You know, has that sediment been happening all along? Is it just the one incident?
Across the street, they had the other episode, which was gravel and sediment into the people's.
And I talked to John Carey, and they had actually been flushing the toilets with no water on, so it created this huge air gap. So when the water went back on, it sucked everything up. Bob Gray and Rob Swiniaski, pardon me. Rob and Bob went there, explained to them, don't run water, flush it. When there's no water, you'll create air gaps, and you're just going to draw anything in there up. So, I mean, which is educational to me, I didn't know that either. So, while it's unfortunate, you know, we were able to explain how that situation to them too. So, anyways, I just wanted to read that out of respect for Seaview, but yeah, I don't think we'll take any action on it.
So I understand it's no asking for action.
It is. He said, would you, the last sentence, he said, would you, purpose of the letter is to help you understand them, and will you consider a reasonable reimbursement of our costs associated with this outage? So, respectfully decline.
So do we need to vote on that?
Not necessarily. So, and then the last two things I want to do are the minutes. Accept the minutes, and while we're reading the minutes, I just want to make a formal statement to thank Bob Gray for his service. I just got a notice that he was.
Oh, yeah, I want to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll steal your
No,
thunder.
I forgot. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So,
Go ahead.
you make the statement if you like.
Well, I was just gonna notify the board of some sad news I got this week. Bob Gray, who is the Assistant Chief Operator at the treatment plant, gave his notice that he's retiring. But the good news on the bad news is that he'll be here until November 30th.
Yep.
In the meantime, we will be advertising to fill his position.
Yeah.
Just keep our fingers crossed.
I told him he had to give us a 3-year notice. He didn't listen to me.
But from an official board standpoint, we'd just like to say thank you for your service. You've done an outstanding job, and you will be missed.
Yes, he will.
You know,
Done
and
an awesome job around here.
the wall he did back there and the other things.
He'll still be here everywhere we look, so.
Good. So, anyways, well done. So let's do the minutes and get out of here at 8:30. So first one's let's do July 12th first.
I read them earlier and have no issues.
Okay. Mark,
This is actually June. This is the full 12 months. It's very confusing. I know. Thank you.
motion to accept.
Make a motion to accept it.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Good. So July 12th accepted. And June 28th in order.
How are we doing on going out to bid on a new truck? Just read this in a minute.
Well, we were advertising starting to advertise, and then there was, Dennis put Debbie Egan as a contact and the selectmen, and they want it to be the Board of Water Commissioners and me, and then there was, first it started out, Debbie's name was spelled wrong, there was some issues, so we haven't done it yet. So hopefully, if Dennis gets his email, if he's around, we'll be able to put it out to bid tomorrow.
And it's not in here, but the Concom also had
That's
the
already.
notice of intent walkthrough, and the Taylor and Howard engineer, I think it was, Tuesday night, they did the presentation, the walkthrough.
Yes, well, that was in my superintendent's report to update, but you cut me off.
Sorry.
That's
But I
okay.
think it went well. So what's the next step there?
I believe that they still need to turn in some things,
Yeah, they had some
watched it,
conditions to reply to, but
which, yeah, there's already been a few things turned in the day after the meeting. The information that Brent was looking for on the 100-year flood and information stuff.
he's just using an updated table.
Exactly, and he got, I believe he issued that, so we're moving forward with that. It's just the timing of how we have several projects going on here, so we have, what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Well, I will tell you, and some of the stuff I've been reading in the press, the cost of asphalt has been fallen by 50%, and they were saying that municipalities can't take advantage of it because they don't have the funds allocated to do things. We do.
Yes.
So I want to make sure that gets done. We get that out to bid because we should be able to take advantage of those advantageous prices.
Before we can go out to bid, we have to have finalization and approval from Concom, because that will become part of the bid specs.
Yep. So just see what it takes, get a hold of Brett, ask him what he's waiting on, and if we can hurry somebody up, Taylor and Howard or whatever, we want to get that out before we lose this window.
We're trying to get it out so that we can put it out to bid and get it done before winter.
Absolutely.
So we are on full speed ahead.
Awesome.
So I make a motion to accept the minutes of June 28th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nope. Good. Mary, Katie, nice job on those minutes. It's like war and peace. You got everything.
So just, in the packet, there is a list that we typed up of future meeting dates. So if you want to take those with you and take a look at the dates, check your schedules, see if they work. It's basically from this meeting every other week, if it's fine,
Yeah, we
just
need
so
to get
that,
back on a regular schedule.
back on our regular schedule, and so you guys can plan. John, if any of those meetings interferes with your the third Tuesday for your library, let me know.
16th.
Let me know, and and then just come back with whatever other date.
Yeah, the 16th is a library meeting, so
So do you want us to
do
start
the
with the
20.
following and go every other week?
let's do the 23rd, yeah.
Will you do that, Katie? How do you know? Do you know both? Oh, did you know?
Yeah, I'm looking at 13th and the 20th. And then, probably wait till September now, but we'll do the walkthrough on the road with Arthur and the.
Yeah, that was
Concom.
on my, to ask about that. I've
Yeah,
got a
I
couple.
talked to him, and he just said, give him a call, we'll set something up, so, that when everybody's schedules align. For me, August is hellacious, so I'm gonna be looking at September.
Do
So
you
it's
want,
not too
do you
late.
want to, as far as I can tell, there's nothing really pressing at this moment, but we could put it off, maybe the last week in August. Would that work
For us, well, that really is the 23rd anyways.
Okay. Do you want to
So,
skip it till after Labor Day?
no, I think there's plenty, and then we've got Mr. Crotty
Oh,
we wanna
yes,
get his,
he's got a lot,
I wanna
yes.
address his
Okay,
situation.
You're right.
It's good, but we gotta address it.
Can I ask, I'm sure there's relevant information here, but I can't read it. So is there a way of sending a soft copy, or getting access to a soft copy?
Oh, what is that? Oh, this is in your mail. So this is, we can blow it up for you on the printer. This is what, you should see what it looks like on 8.5 by 11.
So we're on 23rd?
This should have been, Katie, can we print these reports out, the zero usage? Can you get it to fit the page?
Sure.
It's, because it's not readable. Does anybody else want a larger print of this report? It was in your, it was part of your mail, Mark.
Yeah, I can read it fine.
Okay.
My glasses.
I can't read that either. So just one copy? One copy, okay.
Well, just, I mean, if you just send me the file, I can read it on my computer, that's not an issue. Rather than fiddling and diddling, just send a soft
Make a
copy.
motion, we adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good mellow in the can.